AI, or artificial intelligence, has become extremely popular and a bit of a buzzword over the last couple of years. However, it's difficult to determine if it's actually useful for you as a financial advisor or if it's just slop and it's wasting your time and you should dedicate your efforts elsewhere. In today's episode, I sit down with John Lamont and we break into exactly where artificial intelligence like ChatGPT is useful and where it is just a waste of your time, so you'll know exactly where to spend your time and how to use it effectively to grow your insurance or financial business and consistently get leads. John Lamont, John, my brother, I'm happy to have you on this, I don't know what we're calling it, podcast or conversations or just videos, but I'm happy to have you on here again. Today, I want to again have a candid conversation. I sent you over the script, but we'll dive into it. And so I feel like we're a little bit late to the game talking about AI and ChatGPT and everything. I'm sure there's probably like 1,000 other podcasts, but I've really been using it substantially in my business over the last 6 months, and I found a lot of things that work very well with AI and ChatGPT and these other different resources, and also a lot of other things that suck about it. And even today, I was writing out a bunch of different scripts for YouTube videos that I'm going to be creating here over the next couple of days. And like sometimes it just nails it and it knows what I'm looking for and it like brings out this perfect script. I'm like, yes, that's what I'm fucking looking for. Hell yeah. Like, let's just copy and paste this into Trello and we're like ready to record the next day. And today was not one of those days. I was like banging my head against the wall and it's like spit it. Like sometimes, you see those little videos where it's like throwing things at ChatGPT, like, no, create it like this. No, make it like this. No, make it like this. That's what I was doing. Just back and forth. Like, no, this sucks. No, I said it like this. No, like this. And at the end of it, I was like,
you gotta get mad at it.
Yeah, I'll do it myself, you idiot. So I find that, there's so many things in my business that have substantially changed with AI, but there's so many things that I've tried to use it for that just simply don't work. So in today's conversation, I want to break in. I know you work with thousands of advisors. I want to break into how you see them using AI in their brokerage, with marketing, with other things, how you're using it with your clients as well. Yeah. We'll just get into it. I have a bunch of different questions, but maybe just share your experience and where you see AI being very useful right now.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? It is extremely useful, but I think what happens is people just start running down a rabbit hole, right? They play in the weeds and it becomes a distraction, right? And the problem with distractions is they're not cutting out other distractions that they already have in their life, whether it's scrolling through Facebook or whether it's, watching TV or movies or, playing an excessive amount of golf or playing video games, whatever it is. They have their distractions that they already have. Then all of a sudden you add this on top. It's not replacing one of their distractions. It's just adding more, and it's taking away from what they should be doing, which is, building their business, growing their client base, these important things that is going to put food on the table. But they stay in the weeds, and that's the problem. So is it a useful tool? Of course. I mean, it's changing the world. But unless your plan is to go and be an AI service provider, an AI adoption company, you don't need to know all these different platforms. You just need to know what works best for you in your industry, how it's going to make your life better, how it's going to make your business better. And the rest of the stuff is just noise, right? So that's what I try and help my clients understand. Like, don't worry about all that other stuff, right? Don't worry about, what's going to create the best videos and what's going to make the best graphics. I mean, look at the content creators that you follow every day. Are they using AI graphics and AI videos? No, of course not. They're using real content every single day. Now, the way people are using it for content is on the written part. It's the brainstorming, what you're just talking about, writing scripts and like, what am I going to talk about? Have a brainstorm session with AI and figure out what you're talking about. Those are the things that they need to be using, right? And then the things that just make their business better. What's going to actually streamline it and take those repetitive or redundant tasks and just cut it out by using AI. One of the biggest things that I've seen in your space is the reason why letter. Right. I was talking to a client a couple weeks ago that he figured he spent about $4,000 in 2025 on reason why letters. Just, he figures he spends about $10 per reason why letter because he outsources it, right? So he gets somebody to do it for him. About $10 on every reason why letter. He wrote about 400 policies last year, so it's $4,000 that he spent on reason why letters. Whereas now he spends 30 seconds and it's just produced for him like that. That's how people need to be using AI, not learning the ins and outs so that they go and help others do it. If they want to go and start an AI adoption company, do that. But then you shouldn't be in the advisor space if that's the case. Yeah. Focus on what you do best and just leave the noise for the other people, right? Focus on your business.
Let's specifically talk about ChatGPT because I feel like that's the one that most people use. That's the one that I'm using the most. I find that number one, this is something that I did in mine, is I put a personalization setting in it. I don't think a lot of people know this. I didn't know this, but you can actually put in like a custom prompt in the personalization settings that has it then affect all of your different chats. And one of the things that I did is I actually got it to write it for me. So I said, write some personalization. I'm going to put it into your personalization settings, have it like no corporate jargon, pushback as well. That's a big one because ChatGPT is very much like it agrees with everything that you say blindly. It's like, that's the greatest idea I have ever heard. Absolutely, we should do that. So I did pushback, be like a mentor, push back on everything I say, avoid corporate jargon. But one of the things that I think you need to be very careful of, and also one of the things with advisors, and we were talking about like content marketing and marketing in general, is when you're using AI to build out things, like now you're just competing with everyone else. Right? Exactly. Now your content sounds the exact same as every other piece of content. And I'm noticing, this myself as I'm starting to experiment more and more, where I'm writing a lot of LinkedIn posts and Facebook posts where I'm resharing the videos that I'm putting on YouTube. So for every video that I put on YouTube, I'm building a LinkedIn post, a Facebook post, Instagram post that I'm then resharing saying, hey, I made this video. Here's, the general topics. And there is something to be said about just like pushing content out there to stay top of mind with people. And so I'm still going to continue to do it. But I noticed that like my engagement on these posts just plummets, right? Yeah. Where I would do a LinkedIn post and I would create it myself and, put some thought into it and make it authentic, make it human and write it myself, and I would get 50, 75, 100, likes, reactions on it, 100 comments, 50 comments, something like that, 10, 20,000 views on it. Now it's like the posts that I'm putting out that are just, these generic, ChatGPT posts, it might get like 3 likes, 5 likes, 7 likes, something like that. Like it's not really gaining that much traction. But still there's something to be said about staying top of mind and, just putting content out there. But I definitely think there's a fine balance between using these services and like, using them to help your business, but not using them to completely take over your business, because now you're just like, branding is the only way that you really, like personal branding and you yourself is the only way that you set yourself apart as a financial advisor. That like we're a commodity. There's nothing special about us. We all have the same products. There's nothing that really differentiates ourselves from any other advisor except for you. And if everyone's using ChatGPT to make posts about term versus whole or RSP versus TFSA, they're all the fucking same.
Exactly.
All the fucking same. So there is something to be said about using these services to help you run your business, but not so much to the point that it's now just taking over your unique voice and your unique personal brand that actually sets you apart. So what are you finding? Do you find some experience in that, both with your own business as well as the other advisors that you're working with? Like, where's the line?
Yeah. And I think, I've been guilty of saying I don't know how I operated without AI in the past, right? And so I use it all the time. Like all day, every day I'm using it, right? But it's for certain things. It's not to create content, which is what I think people want, because it's the thing that they struggle with the most, right? It's like, how do I create content? Hey, this thing can create content, or so I'm told. So I'm going to try and use it for creating content. And I think that's a mistake. And so, I think people need to stop using it for content creation. Just use it for things that are going to make your life easier. So one thing that I've seen a lot of advisors do is they use it for case studies or learning the products a lot better, or the services, or the product providers, right? I mean, if you reach out to the product provider and have some questions, it takes a lot of time. If you ask ChatGPT to break down a product with this, I don't know, call it Manulife, right? Hey, Manulife has this product. How would you sell this product? What's the best pitch for this product? Go back and forth with it, right? I mean, I see a lot of people changing, instead of listening to podcasts or listening to the radio in the car, they're having a conversation with ChatGPT, doing real life case studies. It will you'll create a case study and have it tell you what to do, but then get it to create case studies so that you can figure out what to do. Just get better at your craft. Use it for educational purposes. That's one of the biggest uses for it. So, I mean, as long as you're using it for stuff like that and for helping your business, it's going to be a powerful tool. But just don't get bogged down, lost in the weeds, and think that it's going to be your saving grace when it comes to content, because it just really isn't.
Yeah, no, I love that. Two quick things that I'll note before we get into the question. So number one, this is a feature that I actually have been using quite a bit with ChatGPT, is just like the dictate. And so I'll not the, because there's two different options. There's one where you can just dictate, like you have the microphone and you're just talking and that's dictating the speech, and then one where you actually have a conversation with it back and forth. So I haven't actually used the conversation component, but I've used the dictate component, and I'll talk for like 15 minutes.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I'll talk for like 15 minutes, and I'll say, here's some problems I'm having, here's some other problems, here's some other problems. And I feel like the more information that you dump into these systems, the more that they can understand you, and they can start to, not only in business but also in your personal life as well, and trying to create a life that's manageable and something that you actually want to live, trying to combine business and your personal passions. Climbing is a huge part of my life, so trying to combine these different things in my business and how to make it so I can live a sustainable life on both fronts. So I dump tons of information into ChatGPT that way. And then the second one, yeah, just going back to content, like this is what I've noticed so much is you can use these systems to come up with ideas, and you can also use them to create like the basic components and framework. For example, let's just talk YouTube, for example.
Yeah.
Like I will use it to come up with video title ideas. I may use it to create a general, very basic outline. But what I found is that it's going to create the outline in like its mind, like it's how it figures it out, right? And then when you see it, you're not going to have that unless you're just like able to regurgitate things like without any personality, or like just like an order taker basically, which I'm not. I need, when I'm writing a script for a video, I need to like figure out how I go from, okay, I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to say this, and now I'm going to talk about this, and now I'm going to weave this story into it. And I find that if you're using ChatGPT to do that, you'll just look at this script and you'll be like, okay, now I talk about this, and I don't understand how to weave it in, and it just sounds like you're kind of just a talking head, like with no personality. So I use it for like titles, I use it for SEO, I use it to write descriptions, I use it to write playlist descriptions, things like that. But the actual like creative part of it for videos, I try and write those all myself.
Yeah.
And I find that I think that's like the way you should be using it, is like use it for strategy, use it for copy, use it for description, use it for SEO, use it for tags, use it for overall business planning. But as far as like content creation, that is still the unique part of us. And it's hard to separate yourself when you're just regurgitating what everyone else is getting from ChatGPT.
Exactly. No, I love that. Yeah, and I mean the way that I work best is I'm not great with a blank canvas, right? So what I get it to do is spit me out version 1, and then I can take that and I completely rewrite it, but at least I have something to work with, right? Because again, I'm just not great with a blank canvas. So now that it's provided me with something, I can take that and work with it and turn it into something great, something that's actually me, something that's custom to me, but it gave me something to work with. So, my employees used to they used to hate that, right? It's like if I wanted to give them some idea on what to write, I wouldn't tell them from scratch. Write me something, and then I'll tweak it from there. And then they started figuring it out. But now that AI can do it for me, that just saved them so much time, saved me so much time. It's so much better that way. But yeah, give me something to work with, and I can make some magic happen.
I'd love to break into a few other questions that we have here. So we've obviously been talking a lot about ChatGPT, and that's actually the only real AI service I think that I use myself. What are some other services that are out there that you find yourself and other advisors are using?
Yeah, so the majority of people are using ChatGPT. Gemini is one that's starting to come a long way also. So, that's what I'd recommend. Just find something that is user friendly, something that you're comfortable working with, whether it's ChatGPT or Gemini or DeepSeek or whatever, right? Find something, but don't spend too much time on it. ChatGPT works, and it works well. Gemini is, again, coming a long way. That'd probably be the next one that I'd recommend to people. I would just focus on that. Then start using tools that incorporate AI. So, you and I both are Go High Level users. It incorporates AI, and I can do all kinds of cool stuff using the automation features and the AI functionality within Go High Level. That's where I would play. Those are the only two places. That's all you need right now to grow your business and to be more efficient and be more productive. So, for example, one of the things I wanted to talk about is like a lead magnet where, everyone has something where if someone knows what they want or what they need, you can provide them a quote. But how do you determine what the person needs? Well, you can get on a call, ask some questions, provide them a little report. Well, imagine now having just a form or a survey that they can fill out that then it goes through a workflow and Go High Level, which then speaks to ChatGPT, which then will provide them with a customized outlook on what exactly that they need. And then it provides them with a guide that you've built ahead of time, right? That has all the services and products that you provide, but really steers them in the direction of what to look at based on their exact needs. They haven't needed to talk to a human. They haven't had to give their phone number, right? They give their email, but they do that, 100 times a week for
Yeah.
things that they want. So it's not that
Yeah.
big of a deal, and they're able to get the information they need. Now they know you, they like you, they trust you. You're starting to nurture them a little bit, and now they become a client. Little things like that. That's what I would focus on. Just how do you make the user experience, the client experience better, and how do you provide a better service without them
Yeah.
actually having to talk to a human? Because not everybody wants to do that nowadays. I mean, it's a world where people want to get information quick. They want to get it on their terms, and they don't want to have to wait for a call or jump on a video call or whatever, or wait for you to go across the table from them. They want it now. They want it how they want to get it, and being able to
Mhm.
provide that is the best way. So that's the stuff that I would tell people to focus on. Have something that you can have conversations with every day, whether it's ChatGPT or Gemini or DeepSeek, whatever, and then have a tool that incorporates AI that makes your life better.
Yeah, can you talk about that workflow a little bit? Like, what would that look like if you like? Would there be a website, and then they would put in some information, and they would like get a? Would there be like an AI chatbot involved, or what would that look like?
So you could use a chatbot. I wouldn't in this workflow particularly. Basically, I'd run an ad to a landing page. Landing page would have a form. Not sure what you're looking for. Click here. Ask some questions. Based on the
Yeah.
questions, then you submit the form. All that information goes into the workflow. Okay. Then
Hmm.
within GHL, there's a ChatGPT element that you can use, and you just create a prompt and say, "I need you to create me based on right." You tell it the products and services that you provide
Gotcha.
based
Okay.
on these answers, and then you pull using the merge fields, you pull the information that they submitted in the
No
form.
way.
Yeah, provide me an answer, and use this
So,
this type of verbiage, right? And
and it
so
would
it'll
build them. It would build them like a PDF document that it would send to them, and it
no,
would
so
be.
you'd already have that document built. So yeah, basically it would create an email that would then be sent to them, and your PDF would be attached to that
Mm,
email. But that email would
gotcha.
be completely customized by
To
ChatGPT
that.
based on their answers and your prompt.
And then, yeah, as far as, I mean, we can talk about lead magnets here a little bit as well, because that's actually one of the services that we haven't touched on yet. I don't know if you use it very often, you're familiar with it, but it's
Mm,
Gamma.app. I don't know if
yeah.
you've seen that one, but that one I've been using quite a bit to build out. I mean, like it's also beautiful. I mean, it's basically like a PDF builder, so you can go into it and you can use ChatGPT to create the instructions and the prompts to put
Yeah.
into Gamma.app, and then from that you can build lead magnets in like less than 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and they're beautiful. I mean, I just created the one for the climbers, for the
Yeah.
climber ad that we just put out. That
Yeah.
one was built using Gamma as well. Have you used that quite a bit yourself? Are you familiar with it, or?
Yeah, yeah, familiar with it for sure. There's other ones that you can use. Designers, another one. Like there's a few out there, and I'm glad you brought that up because yeah, I just said you create a PDF that is filled with all the products and services. That seems daunting. That seems like an overwhelming task. Those are the
Yeah.
types of things that you use AI for. That right there is exactly what you use it for. To create something like that in a matter of minutes, something that used to take weeks and a whole team to build, you can build yourself in a matter of minutes and have
Yeah.
something beautifully produced that then looks just you put your own branding on it and that kind of stuff, but it just looks professional, and it just looks like you provide value that other people aren't able to provide because you had the idea to create this PDF. And that's where once you bring in those contacts, then you're able to provide them with that stuff, nurture them behind the scenes, and
Yeah.
then you can reach out and have that conversation when they're ready to buy. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
I remember back in like 2000 and I don't know 2017 or 2018, I was hiring these like marketing firms and graphic design firms to build out these lead magnets. I remember I must have spent like thousands and thousands of dollars to build out. I remember I got the bill one time and it was like $2,500 to
Yeah.
build out this like brochure, this lead magnet, that I got in both a PDF as well as, I printed it and I was able to hand it out. There was like hours of like writing content for them and getting pictures and like going back and forth, and we need to create these designs like a pyramid, and here's like, let's put in step 1, step 2, step 3, like all this different back and forth, and like hours of their time, hours of my time. And now this Gamma.app, it's just like, create me this, and it's like 3 minutes, it's done. So it's an interesting era because now we have like so much potential at our fingertips. We can build anything, we can get ChatGPT to figure things out and create content, but then you still need to have the edge to create your own unique personal brand, to use it effectively, but then again, spin your own personality and your own authenticity into it, so people can, yeah, again, build that know, like, and trust factor with you, because they're not going to get that if it's all ChatGPT, but you can definitely utilize, a lot of these services.
That's another
Oh, go ahead.
another reason why I said, going into the weeds of all these different platforms. I mean, do you even have the necessary skill set to get the most out of these other
Yeah.
platforms that you're spending hours of your time trying to learn and figure out? I mean, you might not even have the skill set needed to do that. You need to develop that skill set if you're going to go down that rabbit hole. So don't even waste your time. Just focus on what you can control right now, which is making your life and your business better using these simple tools, and focus on that and nothing else. Just grow your business, sell some
Yeah.
insurance, get some
Delsa.
assets under management, and go to town.
Yeah, if an advisor was brand new to AI, they'd never used AI before. I mean, I think most people at this point have used AI, and they implement it into their business. But if they were brand new and advisors never used it before, what would you tell them from not only a service point, like which actual programs to use, which ones would you start with, and then also what would you actually utilize them for to start to build out your practice?
I would keep it simple. I would go with just a large language model, LLM, like
Yeah,
ChatGPT or
yeah,
Gemini. I would pay for it. I really would. So that's one thing I'd recommend. Don't get the free version. Free version's fine, but the paid version, it's the best. What do I pay? $30 a month I've ever spent, right? So I would recommend paying for it, and just use it every day to learn your craft, to learn
mm,
how to speak about it, to learn the proper case studies, to learn scripts, to learn how to pitch this stuff, right? That's what I would use it for. The educational purposes, the case study. If you can learn how to use it to save time and do the reason why letter and that kind of stuff, great, do that. But for the most part, just use it to make you a stronger advisor, to make you better at your craft. Use it to become the expert. You don't need to be reaching out to product providers and that kind of stuff and
mm.
learn from them. You learn directly from this. And that's what I'd recommend. That's where I would play if I were a new advisor. Just learn everything you can by using this platform, and it'll make you a stronger advisor. Because that's what's going to separate you in the end, is, are you an expert in your field? Because if I'm talking to someone else that's got their branding, they got their content, they got all that figured out, but they're not an expert, I'm not going with them. I need to talk to an expert if I'm going to have someone handling my money and handling my insurance.
Yeah, you obviously want to see that. I mean, they a little bit go hand in hand, of course. Like, there is that expert aura where there's a lot of advisors that don't actually know what they're talking about, but they just do very good marketing, and they're very loud on social media,
Yeah.
and they get a lot of business because they're front and center, and so people they associate them being credible with, without, they're featured in magazines, and they're on YouTube, and so they do things like that. So obviously they must be a credible resource. That's interesting what you said about the learning your craft. So that's actually something. I mean, ChatGPT came out, what, 2023, 2024? Like, when did it come out?
Yeah, 2022, I think 22, 23, something like that. Yeah.
23. Yeah. So I mean, by this point, I'd already been in the industry for 8 years. And obviously, I'm not saying that I know everything, about my craft. That's obviously not what I'm saying. But I've had, I've developed different curriculums that are accredited across Canada. I've talked with, hundreds of different product providers. I've done thousands of meetings. I've done hundreds of seminars across Canada. So at this point, I've generally learned my craft enough to the point, where if I have a question, it's like a very, specific, like something carrier specific that obviously ChatGPT wouldn't be able to answer, or something that's just so technical that, like, it's such a specific use case, like, in Canada, in this province, if you have this and this, what happens with this kind of thing. So I've never used LLMs or ChatGPT or anything else to learn anything about my craft, but that's actually such a good idea. Is there, because I know you can train language models on different subject material, and have like a specific thing built out. I don't know what you would call it, built out or something like that, but you can train it on different material. Is there, like, any type of, besides the general learning model of ChatGPT, is there a specific model for financial advisors that it's like, hey, you live in Canada, or hey, you live in the United States, here's how you can, like, ask this questions, and it'll have these general things in mind, or maybe an extensive research into financial planning, or taxation in Canada, or whatever it is. Do you know of any specific learning model like that?
Not one that's specific to the industry, but ChatGPT's come a long way. Back when we were
Yeah.
using it when it first came out, I mean, it could only go back as far as, what, 4 years in the internet. Now this can scrape in real time. It can scrape URLs, and I mean, it can actually look up relevant content today, it knows a lot. I would be shocked. You said even like a product provider or like a specific problem that you would have with one of the carriers. I bet you it can pull some information based on that these days. So I would, really get into the weeds. I know I use that as a negative in the past here on this call, but get into the weeds of your products and your carriers within the platform as well. Again, on the paid model, and I'm pretty sure you'll be able to get the information that you're looking for. This thing has come a long, long way.
That's really interesting. I love that. Most of this conversation, we've talked about how you can use AI and ChatGPT and these different learning models in your business. And I really do like what you said about, education. And obviously, I've said that I've used it for strategy and I use it for general outlines, and then I put my own unique twist into it. What would you say some of the biggest misconceptions that advisors have about using AI, and how does it not fit into their business? What should they avoid using it for?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fear that it's going to take over the world and it's going to replace them, and they need to learn everything about it, otherwise they're going to be obsolete. And that's not the case. Obviously, you're always going to need to have an advisor. You're always going to need to have that personal connection with the people that you work with your clients, right? So I mean, don't fear that. I think once you get over that fear that I'm going to get replaced by AI or I need to learn everything about it in order to stay relevant, once you get over that, you can just get back to doing what you do best and just use it for the tools that are going to help you grow. So I think that would be the biggest thing. Just overcome that. You're not going to get replaced. There's always going to be the need for you and what you do. Yes, there's going to be ways to be more efficient, and the ones who figure that out are going to win ultimately. But at the end of the day, again, it's still that personal connection that you have to have with a human being. So learn the things I've been talking about, right? Learn about how to use the tools to make you more efficient and to help your business grow, and how to make you a more efficient person and just a happier person. I guess I use it it's like my therapist too. I'll put some information in there and just be like, this is what I'm dealing with, how do I overcome this, blah blah blah, and it knows me extremely well. It's my therapist too, so use it for stuff like that. What not to use? Geez, yeah. So like I said, don't use it for content creation. Don't worry about trying to create videos and graphics, and it's going to fall on deaf ears. You're going to waste more time than it's worth. You're going to get 5 views on this thing. It's not going to do anything, provide you any kind of benefit whatsoever. So cut that out immediately and just focus on, getting more efficient with your business and your life.
I love that so much, actually. And I think if that's the final thing I can leave in this video, and I guess the one thing, if you only leave with one thing out of this video today, I think there's a lot of fear of getting left behind, especially now we're 2 years into AI, and I think we are starting to see, a little bit of the limitations of it. And who knows, maybe we're going to reach an apex and, sentient AI is going to come out and, what do they call it? General AI, and it's going to completely, and Elon Musk's Neuralink, we're going to, interface with AI, and there's going to be a sublayer within our brain. It's going to, maybe that's going to happen. I don't know. But I can definitely see, we're getting to the limitations with all of these programs. In the first couple of years, there's definitely been this fear, even in myself. I saw it quite a bit. I was fearful in in the industry. I see lots of people talking about AI is going to take over, financial planning and insurance and investments, and it's going to take over your job. And and then I see just on the marketing side as well, I see, AI videos, AI thumbnails, AI copy, all these different things. I built this channel and it makes $1 million a month and it's all AI and blah, blah. And you get a lot of FOMO and you get a lot of fear that builds up with that. But I think we've started to see this plateau now. Mm-hmm. And, I see it a lot on LinkedIn and on different platforms. And you can see exactly like what you said. Yeah, when people are starting to utilize these different services, at first they sounded great. AI generated copy sounded amazing. It used the best practices and, M dashes and, really thoughtful. But now that's the norm. And so now it's we're almost reverting back to a more human-like behavior. And so, the one thing I guess is it's not going to replace us, definitely. It's definitely not going to replace us. And I don't recommend using it for content marketing and for putting yourself out there. Because again, the only thing that's separating you from any other advisor is your personal brand and, getting your name out there and people knowing you and building that know, like, and trust factor with them. And if everyone is using ChatGPT, then, it's like what's the Incredibles. If everyone's a superhero, then no one is, right? It's the same thing. So I guess, the one thing that I would leave this with is the more that you focus on being the raw, genuine, authentic version of yourself over a long enough period of time, that is what is going to be your best chance at building a sustainable business and getting clients. And using ChatGPT to do that is definitely not the way.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. No, I 100% agree. And again, it is going to be what makes you better at what you do, but it's not going to be what attracts the clients to you, right? It's going to
Yeah.
be the tool that makes you better and makes you more efficient. So, yeah, real excited for everyone to start using it in a more streamlined and effective way instead of going down those rabbit holes. And if you are going to go down the rabbit hole, you're just one of those people that need to learn the ins and outs. That's fine, but just don't let it become a distraction. Maybe cut out something else that you would have been doing that day instead, so that you can still focus on your business and create something
Yeah.
great.
I love that, brother. Thanks so much for the chat. I appreciate it as always, and I will see you next month.
Sounds great, brother. Thanks.
Take care.